Good morning, brothers and sisters. We have, as you know, this very morning session today, and we got a few full session. In fact, it is early morning. We're going to start off with Brother Joe. Indeed, we're very fortunate, Brother Joe, again for this week. And I understand, Brother Joe, you are busy with your sutra adaptation, but still be able to make time for us. And because of the rather tight schedule that we have this morning, I will pass on to Brother Joe, who's going to share with us some insights to the teachings of Master. Brother Joe? Is Brother Joe here?
Okay, sorry, I thought the P05 is it, Brother Joe?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
My limited Chinese understanding.
Is Huang somehow, right?
Yeah, Huang.
Okay, so well, maybe he's just away for a little while, I guess. Right.
Yeah,
so,
true. It's Brother Joe. Yeah.
Yeah. So, planning Brother Joe to lock on this morning, just to quickly run through. After Brother Joe, he'll speak for half an hour, and then there will be a short break where we would have the summary, the weekly summary. Business Su Ching later. Before then, we go on to the PS, who is already online, who will be giving the personal learning points from the Symposium of Masters Philosophy and Leadership. Then followed by Master De Su. And then we end off with Brother Vivek, and by the time we finish, it'll be 8 a.m. So it's, let me check with Brother Joe is back.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to contact Brother Joe at the line side. That means
right. So you're back with us a little while. We were trying to get Brother Joe, and he was locked on online, but it seemed to have gone out at the moment. So you should just bear with us for a minute or so where we try. Okay, pending Sister Su Ching trying to get Brother Joe. Maybe if we got Sister Lily here, we're obviously going to start off later after Brother Joe's session. And we have Brother Yan or Ian. Not sure where he's logging from.
Hello, I'm in San Jose, actually,
Yes.
in California, but I'm visiting my dad in New York. So I'm in New York. Thank you so much for having me. I saw it on Facebook. Thank you.
What time is that over there now?
12 hours behind, so it's 5:30 p.m.
In the evening, okay.
Day before. You guys are 21st, I'm 20.
So you're gonna, if you're gonna finish the session, you're gonna miss the dinner.
Oh, I ate early. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. And we have Sister Su Ching with us, of course, and Sister Sui Sun. And Sister Sui Sun. Sorry?
Good morning. Okay, Brother Chin. Okay, I managed to get Brother Joe. Okay,
right.
Joe will join us in 10 minutes time, but Sister Lily, sorry, a bit last minute. If Sister is able to do the starting now,
yeah, that would be great.
With the summary. Okay,
yeah.
a bit of a change, but
no worries.
The rest of the time will still stand. Means Brother Joe will share shorter time, then we will move on with Brother PS. Okay, Sister Lily.
Sister Lily, we want to take over. Sister Lily. Maybe Sister Su Ching, you can try to get Sister Lily as well. Brother PS, Sister Lily, you there?
Yes.
Okay, somehow your camera, oh yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, all yours.
I will start the opening.
Yeah, yes, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay. Warm welcome to our masters, Hualien Dharma team, and brothers and sisters around the globe to Saturday Hualien Dharma Talk. A very good morning. Let us start the session for today. Now let us send our sincere prayers into the 10 directions. May the Sangha land be free from disaster and peace prevails in the world. Let us sing the prayer song with sincere piousness.
In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. All my heart is filled with sincere prayer. From all corners of the world, let us join our hearts and pray for a world of harmony and peace. In my heart, I feel deep gratefulness. May all the Buddhas hear my prayer. All united with one heart, let us end our hate with love. May there be no suffering hereafter.
May all minds be purified. May there be peace in the community. May there be no disaster in this world. Now let us together we pray for universal love and blessing. With loving respect, gratitude, and confidence, let us wish every person in our lives a healthy body, an enlightened mind, and a total fulfillment in universal love. Now let us expand this consciousness to include every person in the world.
We can't hear you, Sister Lily.
Can you hear? Hello, can you hear me
I
now?
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, yes, sister.
Oh,
It's
okay. Okay. Now let us expand this consciousness to include every person in the world, every being in the universe. Let our unified love make this wonderful world even better. Let us all immerse ourselves in the joyful embrace of universal love. Before we hear the wonderful sharing, let us invite our masters to lead us in paying homage to the Triple Gems. Let us pay our respects for these teachings and explanation to the Buddha and Master Cheng by making 3 sincere bows. Please rise, palms together. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. And a bow to our beloved Abode Masters who could join us today. Okay, so this is the lineup of our sharers for today's session. Brother Joe not able to be with us today. We'll have Brother PS who will be sharing with us on the personal learning points from the symposium on Venerable Masters Cheng Yan's Philosophy and Learning and Leadership 2023, and followed by Master Teshu on Master Teshu will be sharing on the non-violence communication part 4, and after that we'll have Brother Vivek will be sharing on Journey in Buddha Land at Bodhgaya. Okay, now we'll hand over to Brother Chin.
Thank you, Sister Lily. I'm not sure Brother Joe is online yet. I can't see him.
Okay, Brother Chin, another 5 minutes. I'm not sure, Sister Su Ching, summary, if it's ready, maybe we share the summary of last Saturday first. Sister Lily, are you sharing?
Sister Su Ching is not online yet.
Sister, but it's not in the PowerPoint form. I think she'll be sharing, but it's at 5:50.
We move it to now, Sister Lily can share, I think can flash the Word document.
Do you have Sister Su Ching summary?
Yes, but it's not in the PowerPoint format.
No worry, can
Use the WhatsApp.
Put it on Word.
Can. Hold on.
Hey, Kak Sister, Brother Chin and Sister Lily.
Sister Su Ching is logging in now. Sister Su Ching, there is a bit change of a program. Would it be possible for you to do this weekly summary now?
Yeah, I can, no problem.
That would be wonderful.
Okay. Sorry, I'm in the airport at the moment. Let me share screen. I will not be wearing my uniform, so because I'm in a public space, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, cool. So this was last week, and we had Brother Joe Huang. In chapter 3 of the Lotus Sutra, we find the parables called "A House in Utter Decay is a Message to Explore," 3 carts and children driven to safety's shore, and the Father's skillful means is so much more. Symbolic meanings in the Buddha's words entwine. A path he paved to see the truth divine. He calls for us to look beyond the doorknob to the vast design. Chapter 3 of the Lotus Sutra contains all wisdom signs. A house inhabited by many, but decayed it became. Excrements and filth, a life filled with shame. A reflection of existence and the cycle we all share. Formation, existence, decay, and empty air. As the Buddha points the way we must explore, beyond the parable surface, seek to know more. With bright minds, we translate the understanding true, the lesson in the house for me and for you. So let's ponder the meaning, the decay in our lives as we face the world's challenges and countless strifes. For in chapter 3, the Lotus Sutra song lies a bridge to the present where we all belong. Oh, this is a bit small. Okay, we had we had the team from Hong Kong talking about the environmental protection efforts in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong's heart, a tale to be told of Tzuchi's journey, a story to unfold. An education center in 2009, it began. Sorting and recycling, a delicate plan. Nighttime recycling under the moon's grand span, inspiring volunteers to form a harmonious clan. The crowning glory is a recycling center by Tzuchi's hand, funded by the government. In this community stands. New members in an old building, a challenge for the brave, revamped, transformed for a brighter day. The 6 R's, including respect, the center teach. To inspire action today is their mission's reach. From waste reduction to products, the center preach. in an ethical eating room their values beseech. A grand opening on one December's day, the Environmental Action Center was ready to be displayed. Green architecture in a peaceful array, with bamboo and rainwater showcasing sustainability's foray. A simple truth in their mission's core: share and connect, let love explore. Touching lives even through the pandemic's grip, they implore. The earth is worth protecting now and forevermore. Then we have Sister Florence Chiu from Singapore, and she was talking about her trip to Nepal, following her way of showing gratitude to Master. Sister Florence answered the call to Lumbini and sets her course. On 1st June, with 11 brothers and sisters, a formidable force, Sister Florence contemplated how small her homes are in Singapore. It's way better than the makeshift houses in Nepal without doors. Guiding locals to clean, Sister Florence shared the way, embracing each moment no matter the day. Indian food and hearts love found its way. Caring for others was the message to convey. Books and learning materials in Nepal, they spread, inviting the public to join the books to tea volunteers read. Tinsel aphorisms were distributed to promote wisdom in threads. Vegetarian meals to hungry souls were prepared, empowering women their voices to resound, not just households, but in volunteerism, their potential unbound. Connecting with locals and those from afar, seizing the present like a shining star. As long as Sister Florence walks, she'll follow her heart, which is tied to Chichi's missions, one that Master charts. Hey, Kan'en for listening. I shall stop share right now. And over to you, Brother Cheng, for the next.
Hey. Well, thank you, Sister Su Ching, for the great summary. You not only you summarize it well, you're also a poet and putting into very eloquent words.
I try to be.
It was a great flow, great flow. Thank you so much. Right, Brother Joe, I'm not sure whether Brother Joe is in.
Yeah.
Right, great. So we have, Brother Joe, I know you're a bit of a rush because you have your sutra meditation practice going on. So I know you're rushing in between and so on and so forth, but there you are. And I'm not sure what time you can, how much time you have to share with us. Originally, we were supposed to allocate time for you is until 5:50, but because we did a summary earlier, so you can have it until 6. Is that okay with you?
That's perfectly fine. Thank you. I apologize. I completely did not realize today is Saturday. And that's usually what happens when the day becomes so similar to each other that you didn't realize that today is Saturday. It's different from when we were at the abode, where every day there's a fixed schedule. Every day there's a schedule for something that's happening. You remember which day you're supposed to have a meeting. When Master's on the tour, it seems like every day looks the same. And then you forget that it's weekend because there's no weekend and it's just another day. And so I completely forgot that today is Saturday. Okay, so thank you, Brother Cheng, for allowing me to have an extended 10 minutes. So I'm sure, as most of you, you probably have seen the video, the live stream of our sutra adaptation, and we were there. Two nights ago. So yesterday was the first time, but we were there on the actual first opening where there were people actually filling up the seats. And the first show, which was 2 nights ago, was actually open for all the volunteers and all the people that were in the sutra adaptation performance, but in various showings. So there are a total of 10. There are a total of different, or eight different showings starting yesterday. and there are a total of 8. And so we picked the 7th show, the 7th showing, the performance. We picked the 7th one, which is the one that Master will be in. So we used that one, the actual dress rehearsal, and we invited all the rest 7 other showings, people that were in 7 different other showings, to come to watch that final rehearsal. And that's when the first time we actually get to see the whole thing. You know that when we're practicing, we're always focusing on our parts only. So all the music, all the stories were cut short, you know, giving you about 10 seconds head start before your part begins. So you don't really know what's happening before that 10 seconds. You don't really know what's happening between the segments. So we just run through the abridged version. Okay.
Sorry, Sister Su Ching, I think, can you mute your microphone?
Yeah.
Carry on, Brother Joe.
Okay, thank you. And so, so what we are seeing is what we saw for the first time, what was really happening. And this is usually what happens, is that you don't get to see the whole picture until you have a chance to really try to see the whole thing. And we got a chance to see the whole thing live at the stadium, at the arena. So we finally understand the part that we play, the role that we play. So it's also interesting how we didn't know what we're doing. We're just, you know, doing part of the entire performance, 3 hours, but we're just running through all our parts. But then we get to see the whole thing. And then we sort of click, like, oh, so that's why we're doing this. Oh, so that's why we're doing this. And I think that's very good. Okay, so let me get through. Let me get to what we were talking about last week. And I think if we remember, let me try to just use about the very little time that I have left to get through what we talked about. So in the same word, when we always focus about a particular part in the Lotus Sutra, you get to see one chapter, you get to see one story, you get to see one interaction between the Buddha and the disciples. But we don't get to see the entirety of the learning process. We get to see Buddha in this lifetime, but we didn't get to see the experiences and the lives and the realization and the wisdom that was gained and the afflictions that was shed throughout the different lifetimes that Buddha had beforehand. So usually we would fix, you know, if you didn't get to see the whole show, you would fix and thinking that you know the show, you know the entirety because you've been through what you think is the core. But there were so many things that's happening around it that if we were not paying attention, that it might even be something that we just completely missed, and we would actually be going astray because we thought that was what it was. So, but still, we need to sort of practice our part. That's why we have to zoom in, hone in on a particular chapter and a particular story. So while we're going into the details, let's not forget about the big picture, you know, the grand scale of things. So we mostly remember as the burning house and the 3 cards, and that's important. But sometimes we need to go through the details as well. We need to make sure that we get all the details of what's needed, etc., so that we don't miss the things that the messages that was trying to convey to us. So this is what we talked about last week, right? What else is there in chapter 3? And we go through much deeper in detail to try to explain what the burning house really is. And last week we talked about how in detail the Buddha began to expound. And I like to think of this as this is Buddha showing, expressing, and demonstrating that the Buddha has the wisdom, the complete detailing wisdom about this world. Buddha isn't just talking about conceptually about an idea of the burning house. The Buddha isn't just talking about the decaying of the house. The Buddha is giving you such precise, very, very precise. As I mentioned before, the literacy, the actual meanings and the wordings that were used in this sutra, it was deep, it has depth, it has this, it shows that the person speaking these words have profound and deep understanding of this thing. So he is an expert. So when Master talks about that the Buddha is the wise person, the wise teacher that understands all the very parts about the universe, this is showing you, even just talking about a building, I can tell you all the very finite, the minute part about this building, about what a building is, about how it's going to become dangerous, about all the different parts of a house and how it has become decaying. So last week we talked about how every part of it, there's so many words in here that even I cannot pronounce in Chinese. And it was going into such detail about the parts of the house. And not only that, it tells you the condition of it. And then it was a very, very, very clear detail, right? So not only that, but we also talk about, the different birds. And this is, once again, it shows you the command of knowledge that the Buddha has. And so many times, I'm sure all of you in your own profession and in your own areas of expertise, you also can right away pick up if you're speaking to another person that's in your profession. Through your conversation, you will know if the person is an expert or if a person is an amateur. You will know right away, because you can tell from the knowledge that the person commands, whether he or she knows what she's talking about. Same thing. Buddha had just explained the story, but in a very rough way, talking about the burning house, talking about the elder who is worried about the kids. Yes, you get the idea. Yes, you understand what the Buddha was talking about. But next part, the reiteration of the story, the Buddha actually goes into very deep in terms of specificality, in terms of what each part is really talking about, and uses very specific language. No longer are you talking about these group of people, these groups of animals. You're no longer talking about this is a big house and it's going through decay. You're talking about very specific parts that were decaying. You're not just talking about people in Africa that is suffering. You're talking about the specific cases in Mozambique, in Lesotho, in different places where this actually happens, as if you were there, just like Master, as if the Master was there listening to the story firsthand, experiencing the firsthand. So it goes through all these birds. There are 8 different birds that were mentioned here. And for every one of these birds, there were actually meaning behind it. And this is what I'm trying to say, is that when we first hear about the parable, we would just think about, oh yeah, sure. It's almost like listening to a fantasy or a fairy tale where you have Snow White, you have the 7 dwarves, and then you go into detail about how each dwarf is dressed. You go into detail about their names, about their particular taste and particular likes. And then you go into Snow White and you go into the details about their interaction. And that's where you show command, like as if as if you are there looking at this house. So what this idea was that the Buddha shows command of the knowledge that the Buddha understands all these different types of bird, and why they were used here in this particular story, because they represent 8 different forms of arrogance in this world. So that's number one. Number two, I think it's very important, is that it connects us. Suppose you are a bird watcher or somebody who is very well versed in the knowledge of this the avian ecosystem, and so you know all the different kind of birds. Then you'll be like, wow, okay, maybe Buddha's understanding and knowledge of this is vast. And but for some other people, you would think that, oh, so these are the birds, I didn't know about this. And then, but you see these birds, okay, out of these 8 birds, you probably get to see more than half of these birds, probably not on daily life, but you've seen them. And so this makes a connection. It tells you that this isn't just about the story far, far away, far from us. It's actually a story that's happening around us. It's a story that happens to us. So that's the two connections that I feel. That first, the Buddha shows you commanding knowledge that he had about this world. Second, that this is also a connectivity to us, connects us to this world and to the story, so that we are no longer as an outsider to the story, but rather we are in the story, because these are the elements that we see every day. When you see a house that's decaying, as the sutra mentioned, that these are the things that usually happens, right? The plaster on the wall falls off and different parts is going through decay. That's usually what happens. So it goes through the very specific details to try to show you that the Buddha knows commanding knowledge. Number two, it connects you to the world that the Buddha was creating. Okay, so the time is up. I apologize for not remembering this, for skipping over, and it is completely my fault. I apologize. And I hope that we get more chance to expound further about what each detail was trying to tell us. But regardless, yesterday were 2 shows. Today there are 3 more, and then tomorrow there's 3 more, and then Monday there's more. But there are a total of 10 different showings. And I can tell you that my favorite part, if you have a chance to be live, to be at the Taipei Arena, my favorite part has always been when the lights off, when people are scurrying around to find their spots, and somehow there's something moving about it. And I'm not talking about people moving. I'm talking about my heart was really moved, because if you see one person running, it's really nothing. You see 1,600 people running, scurrying to find their own spots. It's almost like life, our lives, where people are lost and they're trying to find their way. And along the way, you're going to bump into some people. Along the way, you might be the one that sort of missed your spot. Along the way, you might be lost. But there are 1,600 people in this, if you didn't know what's going on, it's a mess. And then they're always finding ways. And you see people, because they are afraid to not finding their place, so then they will hold each other's hand and they will form this human wall, try to find the place together. And you get really moved, because that's how life is. We're lost in many ways. And then there are these people who are so driven, they can find where they want to go. And then they will even help others to find a place. And I think that's who we are. So I think not the point of the show, not the point of the performance, but it's even in between parts when people are running and scurrying around. And then you see them standing in the wrong places. And we on the stand, we will be smiling, and we'll be thinking like, well, it's so obvious looking from up here that you got the wrong place. But I can understand, because I was there too. I know the worry and the burning feeling inside me when I know I'm not at the right place. Yet you are so difficult when you're nervous. It's so difficult for you to find the right place. So you always need people next to you to tell you, hey, over here, you missed, over here, over here. So that's where we are. Thank you very much. And I apologize once again for not remembering today, the very important day, but I hope that you all can continue to enjoy the show. There's going to be 8 more. There's going to be 6 more online. So I implore you to enjoy, and every time you watch it, even though it's the same thing, I'm sure you're going to pick up something different. Thank you, Brother Chin. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Joe, and excellent. I love the wisdom behind finding the seeds, and aren't we all throughout our life trying to find our own seed? But at the end of the day, I remember Master say, in the three directives is a seed of emptiness that we're sitting on in the end to share the Dhamma. Okay, thank you so much, Brother Joe. And before Brother Joe goes, Sister Su Ching, would it be possible to take a photo in the presence of Brother Joe? If everybody can turn on the video.
And Brother Joe for still making it. Very grateful.
Yeah, apologize for, once again, I'm sorry, I forget today is Saturday completely, so.
It happens to me quite often too, Brother Joe.
When every day becomes the same, it's harder to tell that which day is which. You lose count, you lose track. Thank you.
All right. Have you taken a photo?
Okay, yes. All right. Cảm ơn.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Next, we have Brother PS. Again, Brother PS, very little introduction. He was one of my mentor guides, coming into Shi, and especially, literally guide, as in a tour guide. I'm still learning from him. Okay, so whenever I occasionally call for duty to be able to obviously guide others on Cheng Hall. So you can share with us the personal learning points from the symposium on Master Cheng Yen's philosophy and leadership. So I'm sure there'll be some great insights that come from him. And all yours, Brother PS.
Thank you, Brother Chin. Thank you, Sister Su Ching, for giving me an opportunity to share with you a little bit. In fact, I was so tempting to turn on the mic just now and telling Brother Joe, please carry on. You can take all my time, because it was such an interesting sharing from Taiwan side. Whereby mine is basically just repetitive of what has happened on the last September in US. Right. But nevertheless, since I'm given this opportunity, let me just quickly take you through to recollect what has happened during then, in the last September in Harvard universities. In fact, many was asking it is how come that you get to go, right? In fact, it was just a good affinity when there was a last visit from Professor He in Malaysia. Then it was talking about the sharing of the goodness beyond religion and the races in Malaysia and Indonesia. And it was saying that there's this avenue, if they say you would like to highlight what is happening in Malaysia. So I was actually humbly surprised, and then I'll say that I'm very inadequate when it come to this kind of context. And then it doesn't matter, just report on what Malaysian has done on this context. So okay, so in Cantonese we say that "Ting Ang Siong." So but I'm very glad that I seized the opportunity. And in fact, it's very difficult, because it's when you're given only 20 minutes to report on what has done in Malaysia for the past 30 years. I think it is quite a big task, because it's in the social context, Malaysia is always being seen very unique as compared to the rest of the world in terms of religion and in terms of the races, because you see, Muslim is occupying. We have the Muslim community, which is more than 58% of the current official report. If this is unofficially, it's really exceeding probably 60%. And being a Buddhist community, that this is a very low amount, the percentage. And then, but we have a very unique situation where we have so many different lineages of the Buddhism in Malaysia. So that makes it actually very exciting and interesting to share with the world of different lineages, and how all these things is being interacting with the different religion, right? Christianism, Catholic, and then also the Muslim. So, but it remains challenging of compiling all this information and show to the world. So that's why at the end of the day, I decided to put it into the two area. One is on medical, and the other side is on education, and focusing on the refugees and also the stateless. But I also see getting a little bit worried in terms of are we highlighting, because it's this in the international arena, are we showing too much of the ugly side of Malaysia? We want to portray to the world that Malaysia is such a beautiful country, but are we showing too much of the ugly side of it, right? So that is that remains a struggle, right? So, but thanks so much to the Long Fen Hui, that is the guiding us, and in terms of what to mention and what not to, what to tone down, right? So, and actually forced myself to be there 4 days in advance, so that I can lock myself in my friend's house, and then continuing trimming the videos. And then I have been using a lot of videos by Sister Stephanie. And Sister Stephanie, your voice is all over in Harvard universities. And then there's such a clear and then profound material, right? So that was the ninth session of the symposium. As everybody knows, that this has been running, I think it's way back in, if not mistaken, it's 2011 or 2016. It's been running for many years, and then this has become a highlight where they prepare for the last 2 years to have it hosted in Harvard universities. Right, and a lot of other sessions was actually held in Taiwan, and in this symposium there were 12 papers presented, and then it's participated by over 30 Buddhist scholars. When we talk about these Buddhist scholars, after reading their background, it was just so shocking to me in terms of a lot of the each one of them are so well. They're expert, not just in Buddhism, but it's in terms of their study in very deep in each field of their study, and a lot of them are very well versed with both Theravada Buddhism, Vicharana Buddhism, and also the Mahayana Buddhism, right? And then it was attended the 2-day session, which is we have physically we have about 191 participants, and the second day is actually about 172 participants. And through the YouTube record, we saw more than 8,000 online visitors, right? So that was very encouraging. And the event went on with the opening ceremony, when it was addressed by this Professor Eugene Huang. Eugene Huang is actually the professor of Asian art history in the Harvard University, where he is very well versed in the Lotus Sutra, right? And he has done a lot of research, and also the creation of the artistic presentation, right? Combining the art with the religion and present it. And then we actually, at the end of the whole symposium, we have a chance to visit. This is a demonstration, and it was actually take our mind off. It is a very mind-boggling event. The event also was actually during the opening remark, there was this Professor Stephen Tizer, is a professor in the Buddhist studies from the Princeton universities. So these are just among some of the scholars, and this is some of the pictures that you can see. I think quite a fair bit of you probably was actually online and part of this event, right? And at the end, I actually have the opportunity to have my my two sisters was actually tagging along, and my brother-in-law as well. So, and this is a sister, Zhang from United States, right? Sister Debbie, right? These are some of the participants. Okay, let's just go inside to all the 4 sessions throughout the 2 days. It's structured in such a way that the first session was on the social impact of from Master Venerable Cheng's social impact, and then the session 2 is on the historical context, and the session 3 is on the philosophy of Master Cheng, and then after that it goes into grand discussions, and there are 2 sessions of a grand discussion. The first one is on Buddhism and interreligious engagement. And the second one is on Su Ching's global charity, right? So that's how it was structured, right? In the first session that we went through, which is on Venerable Chen's social impact, and these are the presenters, and it was such an interesting event. How it was organized is like you have the host, which is a professor making the introduction. Then after that you have a first, second, third, fourth presenter, and you have another 2 commentators. So these 2 commentators will pick up all the salient points of the presentation and then give their opinion. This is how the papers was structured, and they give a very critical opinion against each of the papers that's presented. I actually have quite a fair bit of a record, but I'm not too sure whether I will walk everyone through with this, because it's to repeat what those imagine that 12 papers, these are all this is professorship papers, and then of the scholars from 30 experts presentation. Who am I to actually synthesize them? I think I'll just pick up some of the points and then share with you. Hopefully that you arouse some of your interest, and then you go back to the YouTube and rewatch some of this material. I think that should be the purpose that of this particular sharing. Yeah. So. Okay, on the there are 4 papers as I mentioned in the session 1, which is started by this Professor Caroline Reeves. Her paper was very interesting, where she starts talking about this towards an understanding of a post-gender giving. That's and a question mark at the end of this particular paper. Basically, she was just trying to establish differences between the philanthropic and charity. So in our traditional understanding, we tend to associate this philanthropic with and a charity with the gender, right? Whereby the philanthropic is more towards the male, but charity is more towards the female. And she has a lot of this data of her research, and then she highlighted, and then that's to substantiate her point of her argument. And it's interesting whether how she concluded this is this female Master Cheng Yan's great love. It goes beyond these two, whether it is the philanthropic or charity. So that is the a very interesting perspective that she has brought up. And Dr. Julia Huang, she went on with the charisma and compassion 2.0. I'm sorry, this is a little bit of a mistake in the typo. She has earlier on, and she has established, published a few books and with regards to her understanding and her research in Tzu Chi. And she has been to Malacca, she has been to Malaysia in the course of writing her book. And then this time that she gave in a very that's why she decided to put this as a compassion 2.0, because it's a lot more a different kind of a learning after years of research into Tzu Chi, right? So this time she focuses leading by Master Cheng Yan's charisma and walking the talk, the great love, the selfless giving, and she reassuring everyone's bodhicitta. So that is how Master always mentioned that 人人具有佛性. That means everyone has this bodhicitta, and her role in inspiring disciples to walk the bodhisattva path. That is become the highlight. And the important conclusion that she drawn from here was that Tzu Chi will become the model of Buddhism in the current context. And this is such a profound, high regards on to position Tzu Chi in this is a busy society, and then that is from the scholar's perspective, and that is very encouraging for all of us. Right, we have a Miss Alice, and she's actually from the Taiwan Tzu Chi school, and her presentation was a great lesson of our time. There's a 大斋教育, and when she go on with she's English, and she start her talk in Mandarin. For information, in this is out of these 30 scholars, I think there's more than 10 of them that speaks their Mandarin is actually, they are foreigner, and their Mandarin is better than mine, right? So that was just really I don't know how to express it, but you're there, and then when you see all the foreigners presenting the paper in Mandarin, it's just, oh my God, it was such an interesting phenomenon. Right, and then she mentioned straight to the point that eat vegetarian and save the world, right? So that is for the first time that you see this kind of a paper that is being presented. A lot of the time we talk about those arguments on the a very philosophical kind of topic, but this is the first time when you see this type of a topic, of very straight and very direct, and that is actually echoing what Master Cheng Yan has been saying, right? So go on vegetarian, and that is the only solution, right, to get rid of the pandemic. But wow, everybody knows the theory, right? Everybody could somehow rather agree to that, but to commit into that is a difficult task, right? The last one was Prof. Stefania. This is often, I think most of us know her, right? She has become so interesting character in the Tzu Chi's social media, when she talks a lot about the master's words as a new Buddha Vachana. So that is the Buddha Vachana is basically those words that is spoken by Buddha, and that is to say nothing but the truth, right? But in the private such discussion, when I was having opportunity to actually have a chat with her, she was very mindful and about this, because it's to the Su Ching community, when we talk about Master Cheng Yen's word as a Buddha Vachana, everybody could comprehend. Is to say, okay, whatever words is just like the words of spoken by Buddha, then that is coming up from Master Cheng Yen. But if they say you are not the Su Ching community, and people tend to have this kind of a discrimination, right? Are you going into some kind of, well, you overpraise your leader of your own community. So she was actually very mindful about that, and it was also highlighted subsequently by the commentator as well, right? But it's important throughout her presentation that is, she mentioned that is the master's words. She used a very simple and easy understood, right? And that is how the Master Cheng Yen's thought and wisdom establish the collaborative understanding across the religion and races, because she used this word of ta'ai, right? That is the it is actually, it encompasses all religion and races. And this is a significant and a very unique contribution of a Tzu Chi, right, in this is a current society. So as you can see that this is the entire session 1, right, about the Master's Cheng Yen's social impact, and this is how her leadership that is actually impact across various different religion and races. So from all this is 4 papers, and then it goes into the commentator. We have 2 commentators. One is Andre, the other one is Natasha, right? I just want to highlight some of it, like when Andre go into the comment on Dr. Julia's paper, he highlight one very interesting point of secularism, right? Because we always wanting that Tzu Chi, we always talk about a very down-to-earth charity and helping others. And we do not argue too much in terms of, we don't speak too much in terms of those difficult understood Buddhist terms, right? So this is a form of a secularism, right? Right. So the challenge will be how do you put lower emphasis on this is religion, but the word use the word voluntarism, and that's exactly how Tzu Chi has been doing. But if this is overdone of this particular context, that is, it invites a different kind of comment from mainstream fellow Buddhists. They will say that, okay, you are not so much in terms of Buddhism, but you're just another NGO on the charitable NGO, right, where we do not see any flavor of Buddhism inside there. Right, so that remains a very challenging in terms of how Tzu Chi, moving forward, how do you maintain ourselves as a Buddhist organization, but at the same time that you could put it into a language that can be accepted by everyone of a different religion and races. So this is a very, I personally find it very interesting, right? So when it comes to the Natasha's comment on Caroline, and she says that teaching people how to fish is a program, and this is a philanthropic, right? And giving them fish is the action, is a charity, right? So that is putting it in a very concrete example, and then we can understand it as it is, right? But she suggested that charity as a compassion, and philanthropy as a wisdom. Anyway, this is just from the academic perspective, and then given to the people who see presenting the paper so that they can have an additional food for thought as they progress on with the paper, right? Here it goes that when you talk about the Professor Julius, how does the structure of organization changes as the time goes and become more lean and efficient, right? This actually have I purposely highlight this particular point is the same. We tend to see in the not just the business world, just the NGO, and every kind of organization as the time progresses that we build a lot of a bureaucratic system to enhance the organization, and then they come up with this particular suggestion and asking that as the time goes and as the organization progress, how do you becoming more lean and efficient? Wow, that is really something hitting hard on Tzu Chi for us to really contemplate on it, right? How do we tear down those kind of a bureaucratic system, right, and make it more efficient, right? So, this is just one of the learning that I have. Of course, this is I won't want to go into each one of the detail, right? I'll straight away progress into the session 2. In the session 2, we talk about the topic is Venerable Cheng Yen in a historical context. How it goes is if you look at I'll show you the picture. This is the session 2, as I say. You can see that on the it was chaired by Professor Afan here, and we have Professor He Jianming, right, which is from the Beijing, and then we have Shanghai from Macau. This is nothing new to all of us. This is Lin Jiande from the Xuanzang Daxue. And this is also Professor Ho Kun, and then another professor. This is Professor Lin Anhu from the Cida, retired Cida professor, and also this is Si Zhaohui, Venerable Si Zhaohui, and also Professor. This is Professor Hong. Hang on a minute. I always forgot Wang Song. Wang Song is from Beijing universities on the School of Art. Right. So this is such a colorful background on the session 2. Right. Professor. Let me start with Professor He Jianming. Because I really like what he has mentioned. His topic is on reaffirming Tzu Chi lineage, right? Because this is returning to the original teaching of a Buddha, right? It is like what Tzu Chi is doing. This is a particular lineage. Is like bringing all of us back to the Buddha's time, where this is you have the teacher that is speaking the wisdom words and guiding us daily, and it is in his paper he has this evocation of the concept of inheritance, the 传承. And basically, the concept of inheritance is on the self-awareness of the historical essence. That means is what you understand from the concept of what Buddha is teaching, and then you synthesize all the essence from what the Buddha is teaching, and you want to pass it on to the next generation, right? And that is how Buddhism has been propagated since 2,500 years until today, right? Whereas there is another concept of innovation, 创新, and is taking into the current opportunity and the social context, and you mix it and you apply it, and that is where the Mahayana Buddhism has been doing. It seeps into the local context, and it becomes so colorful, and this is what we are seeing, and that is the Su Ching is basing on the understanding of the Lotus Sutra and the Sutra of Infinite, and applied it onto the current context and occurrence for both the cultivator and the beneficiaries to realize the Buddha's teaching, right? So in here, that is he actually give such assurance to all of us that Su Ching lineage is the basing on this is the Lotus Sutra, and then is the and that reinforce our confidence that this is the official way, and that is correct way, that is in line with the Buddha's teaching. Whereas the Mr. Shanghai from Macau, that's Master Cheng Yen's, his paper is the Master Cheng Yen's thought in the context of Chinese culture, right? And it's to use harmony to replace confrontational, right? And that is the whole argument of his, that this is the most appropriate that in the current society that it need. And then if you see that there's the when we look at the current war that is going on, how each one is trying to defend their right, and then right, it really gives us the big question mark is, while you're defending your right, is it that you have the right to invade the next person? Killing others is on the name of defending yourself, right? So that is a lot of when you apply all these things in the current social context, that is you notice that is this particular argument of the Master Cheng's advice, that this really stands out, that is the harmony to replace, the use of harmony to replace the confrontational. And that is the only, we always say is that hatred will never overcome hatred, only through broadening great love. And that this is really appropriate in this. The third one was actually the Lin Qiande from the Xianzhang University. His topic is on a comparative study of Bodhisattva points of view between Venerable Yin Shun and Venerable Cheng Yan. And he highlighted that I really love this particular part. He highlighted the philosophy of Master Yin Shun, and also that moment of encounter of Master Cheng Yen and Master Yin Shun, right? At when she was in the Sanhui Jiangtang, that particular moment, and that he actually presented that in this particular paper, and it highlights how Master Cheng Yen's actions complement Master Yin Shun's philosophical concept of a bodhisattva. As we all know that Master Yin Shun is such a scholar that is he speaks a lot, he advocates this particular idea of a bodhisattva in the mundane world, is not just those to be prayed, but is those bodhisattva that everyone can become the bodhisattva. And Master Cheng actually complement this particular idea and put it into the action and benefit the sentient being. And it's such a beautiful paper. And then when it's presented, and subsequently Professor Ho Kun Hong is a Master Cheng Yen's in the history of Taiwan Buddhism, and he reaffirmed that Master Cheng Yen's contribution to the world as bhikkhuni, right? As you know that bhikkhuni even within the Buddhist community, bhikkhuni somehow rather is a little bit of a discrimination, right? excuse me for saying that, but there was a certain kind of a rules that are within the Sangha themselves, right? And Su Ching just doesn't belong to any of this traditional Mahayana Buddhism lineage, but it followed Buddha's teaching to eradicate suffering and provide relief. And that was to say the main gist that is Professor Ho Kun Hong mentioned, right? The next one, the Professor Lin Anhu, that was to say, honestly, I have a hard time trying to understand because he's so deep into the Rujia, as those philosophical of Chinese traditional philosophy of Menzi, right? So, and he cited so many of the wording, which is even as a person that understands Mandarin, I have a hard time trying to comprehend his paper. But his title was Inspiration of a Tzu Chi Philosophy on the 21st Century Human Civilization, Unfolding Great Love as the Core. And he reaffirmed that Tzu Chi has a perfectly embraced and combined the Chinese Rujia teaching with the Buddha's teaching, and this is much needed in the world today. And that is again, thank you so much for the reconfirmation, right? And in the commentary, right, which is the first was by this Venerable Shi Zhaohui, on the first paper, she mentioned that establishing the lineage was traditionally done after the founder of that particular lineage has passed away. That was traditionally done by all the major lineages in the Mahayana Buddhism in the past, right? But this is not really in the current context and the recent society. However, it is of individual lineage to decide how it is to be done. So that this is that is another word of saying that it is okay that there's a Tzu Chi if they want to progress on with your own lineage. And walking the Bodhisattva path, many a time it could be confused by the concept of cause and effect. This is when I first hit it, it's she was actually saying that in Mandarin, right? The Pusa Dao, that is a lot of the time you are actually hindered by the yin yuan. It takes me a very long while to understand this particular sentence, because a lot of the time, are we interfering into each of the suffering one's yin yuan? Why are they suffering? Is because they have their own affinity, right? That's what they are today, right? So are we interjecting or interfering of their yin yuan? This is become, and she mentioned that this is always the hindrances that is to say when we walk this particular path. And I also say, I know that it's very difficult to understand, but I think it is such a profound concept that was also brought across, right? And it always remains as a challenge on how to apply the philosophical theory into the real life, and it always remains as a vision of a Tzu Chi, right? So that was to say a very profound remark that was done on this. And when it is also agreeable that the broadening great love and eliminating negativity must go concurrently. But however, it is not necessary to be carried out by the same person. That is well, and on the Professor Lin Jian her comment was it is delightful to see more multiple aspect of a Venerable Yin Shun and a Venerable Cheng Yan being presented, because you see, as you know that everyone knows Venerable Shi Zhaohui is actually the disciple of Master Venerable Yin Shun as well, right? So, and she mentioned that this is she was delighted to to see that more so of how they complement each other. And in the paper, there was so much spoken about how Master Cheng complement the thought and put it into the action of the philosophical idea of Venerable Yin Shun, right? Okay, and then I think due to the time, I won't go through too many of these things. And then on the session 2, this is exactly what I was trying to tell you just now. There's an example when we talk about Sheng Sheng Fa, Wu Sheng Fa. This is basically Sheng Sheng Fa, a lot to do with is actually extracted from the I Ching, and then Wu Sheng Fa. This is Wu Sheng Fa is from a Buddhism context, right? So, honestly, I don't know how to translate it into the English, right? I have a hard time trying to. I was amazed how those online translator that they managed to actually have it translated into English, but doesn't matter. The whole thing is it reaffirmed that is in this commentary, it mentioned that Master Cheng is as a house elder. That means it's as the head of the house, right? And this is actually in line with the Rujia philosophy, and this is where we Xiao Qin and Jing Lao, and this is how Su Ching is walked through the past 57 years, and that is used with this particular manner. And it is also mentioned that it is a healing type of a religion. Wow. So to me, it really opens up the ears and say, wow, Su Ching as a healing type of a religion, right? It is a 疗愈层的宗教. I was actually very encouraged by this particular comment. And a very interesting comment I just from the this Beijing Fojiao is a Beijing Buddhist school of this Professor Wang Song. He gave a very important remark here, is that I'm agreeable to the suggestion that Su Ching lineage is basing on the faith in the Lotus Sutra, 对法华的信仰, and also the practice of Zen Buddhism, 结合禅宗的修行. Oh, that was such a soothing when this word is spoken, right? As people reaffirm us that this particular lineage is actually basing on this kind of the very philosophical idea. And of course, subsequently, we also hear some other social media which say Buddhists is actually walking the path with the lineage, which is very close, is we actually following the practice of the Yao Shi Jing, right? So that is, but it was not mentioned in this particular study. That could be something which is enriching for this particular for the future study as well. Halfway through, there was actually MOA signing ceremony where I highlighted this is because it actually establishing the co-relationship between the Tzu Chi and the Chem Lab of Harvard, right? And it is called Ming Xin, a journey of enlightenment. And it is going to be an exhibition, and they target by 2026, when the Tzu Chi turns 60 years, and this material will go out and it will be demonstrated in Harvard, and subsequently it will travel throughout the world. And this is I'm really looking forward to, because throughout the course, we are also given a snapshot on what they're capable of doing it. And then they combine with all the latest technology and the material engineering, and how this is Buddhism can be presented in the different perspective, right? So, okay, I think I've spoken too much. I just give a video for viewing present. Pleasure. Sorry.
Compared to yesterday, today we are talking more about the Buddhism engaged in secular world, more focus on Master's philosophy, the uniqueness of a Tzu Chi school of Buddhism. What's Buddha nature? Follow all truth and cherish all being. So that's the essential philosophy of Master Cheng and also the Buddhism philosophy.
I'm a nursing student from Luther College in Iowa. I learned how we can look at the Venerable Cheng in an academic way.
Tzu Chi school, unlike the traditional like Zen, emphasize on meditation, we are emphasize on altruistic action, and by that we can reach the ultimate enlightenment.
One of the really critical things in Master Cheng work is to take these abstract concepts and put them into practice, because as hard as some of these concepts are to grasp, actually implementing them is way harder.
I did a research on the identity of Buddhist hospitals. Su Ching mission of healthcare is very fascinating and inspiring.
也是因为讨论，所以我们也把慈济过去所做的事情很忠实的呈现给外界看。所以基本上我看到就是大家是非常感动跟认同，那也会觉得，这个真的是一个跟以前其他宗不一样的，有自己的特色。
And what is Master Cheng's mission? Is from her Master's insert for Buddhism, for all sentient beings. That is our mission. Thank you.
I've been studying Su Chi for a number of years. I came to the conference, but they also asked me to be here because they wanted to offer me a recognition for the research that I've done on Su Chi.
Professor Herman Nanner is a good friend of Su Chi. Professor Herman Nanner, he introduced me to talk to the Harvard scholar in 2008, and after that he has been taught Su Chi case for 12 years.
What's special about Su Chi is, I think, two things. The first is, in very uncertain environments, it's hard to figure out what do we do. What we teach about that is something that Su Chi has embedded as an organization. Go back to your core organizational values and beliefs.
Su Chi doesn't have a strategic planning process for disaster relief. What it has, and this is an important concept, it has a strategically designed adaptive process, or rapidly figuring out.
The second thing is, operating in such an environment, you have to be nimble and adaptive. They've built an organization that is effective and reliable in its ability to adapt rapidly to situations, every one of which is different, and no one ever saw this one before.
I will always be a volunteer for Su Ching. Okay.
I think it's very fruitful to learn more from the outsiders. They all say Tzu Chi school Buddhism still is already there and it's developing and it's good for the development of Buddhism.
I was invited to share the perspective of American Buddhism. One of the big differences between Su Chi and American Buddhism, America really places a massive emphasis on meditation. Su Chi is much more focused on compassionate action, which I am a big fan of actually. In a society like the US, which is quite individualistic, in what way might meditation work against movement towards social action?
Engage in social reformation is very important. Otherwise, how you build the Pure Land in this world? Welcome, Mr. Yan Bowen.
我想这个部分是借助这个论坛借助我们后面持续的再继续推广我想这个是应该会变成是一个有影响力的一个宗教跟慈善组织。
To put into action, you require better, more enlightenment and wisdom.
It is a milestone. It's a milestone for Tzu Chi, it's a milestone for Master Cheng Yen to have the whole world understand her teaching, and hopefully that her teaching can really bring hope to the world. Only for sentient being that Buddhism and Tzu Chi can sustain. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. I think, as you can see, I think this video has encapsulated all the important points that, and by watching it, you can feel the aneurysm that is the how we're being reaffirmed by other people, right? Due to the factor of time, I'll just skip a lot of these things and go into my the command that is given. Now I'll just go into my last one, and that was a session 4. In the closing ceremony, I just want to mention this is the feedback from the Harvard University is this a word from Professor Huang, right? Eugene Huang. He said that Symposium is not only has an academic high standard, it's an academically high standard, but also it instills the practicality for the benefit of the society. A lot of the time, a lot of this kind of academic discussion is always remain as a philosophical, but he's personally very surprised to see how this particular symposium, it let everyone sees the practical part of it, and it paints a direction for it paints a hope for the society. There's something that the society can emulate, right? I think that was just very encouraging, right? And there was also a lot of report. There was a report, a very exclusive report from Taiwan media, right? And the synthesis of it was to say the symposium has lured world expectation of a Tzu Chi, world's expectation, right? And he has suggested various solutions for how religion could help resolving the conflict in the society, and scientifically advocates how the climate change can be addressed through vegetarianism, and illustrated a universal view of how Buddhism is relevant and could be important teaching resolving the ongoing concern of the world. This is reported in the Taiwan media, and it goes on with the report says that Tzu Chi lineage is an important innovation of how Buddhism in action is needed in the current society, and illustrated the fusion of Chinese traditional rule teaching with the Buddha's teaching. And it encompasses both Eastern and Western value and philosophy. And under the charismatic leadership of a Venerable Cheng, Su Ching has brought forward the spirit of great compassion and altruism, converting philosophical idea into the concrete practical wisdom, combining compassion and wisdom in actions. By diligently tailing the thought and putting them into practice, Su Ching has proven to the world of its great love going beyond religion, race, and countries. And this will be the new era of human civilization. My God, such a big word that was just put across in this particular report, right? And the report also mentioned that besides, various discussions also focus on the creation of a Tzu Chi lineage, and is rooted from a Buddha's teaching in line with the Venerable Tai Xu and Venerable Yin Shun's philosophy, and subsequently practiced by Tzu Chi throughout the world, right? And the concern of organization sustainability, it was the first time that was last minute, it was a tweak. And it's clear that the pure practitioner, the Qing Xiushi, and the Jingzi Abbot is going to be the strong pillar of the Tzu Chi in the decades to come. Because in this particular symposium, everybody was have an equal concern on how the Tzu Chi will be in the next 50 years and 500 years, right? And it was to consistently highlight that moving forward, Tzu Chi ought to focus on increasing its presence in the international arena, both in academic and scientific research. And this is ready to be the exemplary model of the world human civilization. I don't know how I can elaborate further from here, but this is basically, I have synthesized them into my own, I've over and over keep on reflecting upon what has been spoken, right? I'm personally very, very encouraged because we have all the scholars that reaffirm us of these particular lineages, and what we are subscribing. It is a very practical, and it's following the Buddha's teaching, right? And it's also a lot of the time when people comment about that your Tzu Chi is xiu fu bu xiu hui, for example, you're only but we have this is the symposium that reaffirms the Tzu Chi's practice of altruism with gratitude is in accordance to the Buddha's teaching, right? And it enhances the world's academicians' understanding of the charismatic leadership of Master Cheng Yen, and it's her management and operative model, right? And it highlights to the world the concept of Tzu Chi, pure practitioner, that is paramount to the sustainability of the organization. And it also introduced to the world the Buddhism in action with a great love footprints, right? And the Tzu Chi as a model of a management, that's I'm quoting from the Professor Herman Leonard's speech. We ought to face each mistake with gratitude, and that is a word from Professor Leonard, as it is our basis of learning. So do not see any mistake as a mistake, but see it as an opportunity of learning. And this is from a Tzu Chi's models learning. Through contributing and throughout this learning, we gain realization. And it's we talk about the 做中学, 学中觉, right? And professor also been using this model and teaching as a teaching material in the Harvard business schools, as I mentioned just now in the video. And I personally very excited to listen to Professor Eugene Wang's closing speech. That is, he's so hopeful that the Princeton universities will not compete with Harvard in organizing the next Tzu Chi symposium. So they are so excited over what has occurred. So they hope to continue with Tzu Chi in the next symposium. Right, so we look forward to the collaborative project with the Harvard School with the Tzu Chi in 2026. Right, so we probably need to start booking our ticket to the States, right, in 2026, and which will likely in the September again, right? So we really look forward to that. So the time is up. Thank you so much and for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thought. Right, Ganen, back to you.
Brother PS, for the wonderful sharing, great insights and observation from your learning in there. And I think that we don't have time to really ask questions, but I just want to summarize in one sentence what I've listened to you over the past hour. It's how the whole sharing have come out. And one common message is to heal the world. The world is in turmoil right now, and there's so much that is needed to bring our hearts together, get united, and heal the world. So thank you, Brother PS. Excellent sharing. I learned so much from that, from your observation, without being there myself. All right. So next we have a venerable the Shu Master Shu, who is going to be sharing with us on non-violent communication, and this is on part 4. Master. Then so I'm firstly a deep condolence, Master Shu, for the passing of your grandmother, and I know that you're rushing back for the necessary prayers and so on, and may your granny take rebirth in a higher realm. Master, all yours.
Okay, thank you. And first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to have the opportunity to have the opportunity to give a sharing on the nonviolent communication, because originally I had planned to go home earlier. So I told Su Ching that I have to cancel the Saturday. But when I asked Master for a leave, and she advised that I'll go home right around the time of the memorial service, which is next Monday. And so this frees up my time that I'm still at the abode on Saturday. So I figured that since I'm at the abode, then I might as well as use the opportunity to give the sharing on nonviolent communication. And it actually works out very well. I think Master is very wise in figuring out how to go about the best thing to do things. So let me share my PPT. Okay, so today I would like to continue with part 4 of my nonviolent communication session, which is about making requests. And so in making requests, actually, we know that humans are social creatures and we cannot live alone by ourselves. So we depend on one another for survival. So when working and communicating with people is very, very important. But how to communicate effectively with people in a loving way is a skill that we truly need to learn and practice. So nonviolent communication is a very good tool to help us communicate with people. It was developed by Marshall Rosenberg, an American psychologist. And in MVC, Marshall wants people to focus on feelings and needs. And our feelings can help us figure out our needs. When our needs are being met, we feel pleasurable feelings. And when our feelings are not being fulfilled, we feel unpleasant feelings. And all human behavior is an attempt to satisfy their needs. But problems arise when people's needs are being neglected or are in conflict of each other. So when we are interacting with people, understanding their feelings and needs is very important. And Marshall said that there are only 2 things that human beings are ever saying, which is please and thank you. So today I want to talk about the 4th component of MVC, which is making requests. And when our needs are not being fulfilled, how do we express our requests so that others are more willing to respond compassionately to our needs? So first, let me share a story that I read on the internet. It's from a lady who learned about MVC and how she used it in communicating with her husband. One time, her husband said to her, "It's really annoying that you're reading so much." And when she learned this, she got a bit angry. But having learned MVC, she knew that her husband's criticism of her was not because she reads too much. It was due to some needs of his that wasn't being met. So she talked to him and tried to understand what he really wanted to say. And after some effort, she figured out that what her husband really needed is to have more time for rest. So using MVC, she guided him to say what he really wanted her to do, which was he would like her to drive their daughter to the training camp and back, and not him, so that he can stay home and get some rest. So learning of his need, this lady willingly complies with her husband's request. And she wrote that if she had focused on her husband's criticism of her and retorted back, they would never have found out what was the root of the problem. Even if she reads less books, it would not have met her husband's need. So this is just an example of one small incident in life. And our days is composed of many of these small incidents. If we don't handle these small incidents well, by the end of the day, we will feel exhausted and lousy. But if we can deal with these small incidents and resolve conflicts, we won't accumulate so much stress and bad feelings at the end of the day. So Marshall says that when we want somebody to do something for us, we are to use positive language in making our request. Negative requests are likely to provoke resistance. It's like that lady's husband. He wanted his wife to drive their daughter to training camp, but the way he made his request was through criticizing his wife's reading habit. So this kind of making requests is not helping him getting what he wanted. It's just going to make his wife angry. And fortunately, his wife knows MVC and was able to prevent a conflict. So besides using a positive language when making a request, we also express what we are requesting rather than what we are not requesting. So there was a woman at Marshall's workshop. She was frustrated that her husband was spending so much time at work. So she asked him not to spend so much time at work. But her request backfired because 3 weeks later, her husband told her that he had signed up for a golf tournament. And she had successfully communicated to him what she did not want. He's spending so much time at work, but had failed to request what she did want. So Marshall encouraged her to reward her request. And so she thought for a minute and said, I wish I had told him that I would like him to spend at least one evening a week at home with the children and me. So in making our request, we want to word our request in the form of concrete actions that others can undertake and to avoid vague, abstract, or ambiguous phrasing. Now, the clearer we are on what we want back from the other person, the more likely it is that our needs will be met. And when we ask people to do something for us, we first need to adjust our mindset that we are making a request, not a demand. So how do we know we are making a request or a demand? So Marshall says that the main difference is not how nicely we say it, but how we treat people when they don't do what we want. So look at this situation. Jack says to his friend Cheng, I'm lonely and would like you to spend the evening with me. Is that a request or a demand? The answer is that we don't know until we observe how Jack treats Cheng if she doesn't comply. So suppose she replies, Jack, I'm really tired. If you would like some company, how about finding someone else to be with you this evening? If Jack replies, how typical of you to be so selfish, then his request was in fact a demand because he blames her for being selfish. Now, suppose Jack replies, you know how lonely I'm feeling. If you really love me, you'll spend the evening with me. Then Jack now interprets Jane's response to mean that she doesn't love him and that she has rejected him. He's making her feeling guilty. So this is a demand. If Jack replies, so Jane, you're feeling worn out and needing some rest this evening, then his request will be a genuine request because his response to Jane had expressed a respectful recognition of her feelings and needs. So when someone don't comply with our request, if our response is we say or do something that blame, criticize, or judge that person, or make him or her feel guilty, then we are making a demand. If we show empathy toward that person's needs when they don't do what we ask them to do, then we're making a request. But it's not so easy to make a request because sometimes when we ask someone to do something, we get a rebellious response from them, like, why don't you do it yourself? Or don't order me around. And so we know that we are making a request, but the other person takes our request as a demand. So Marshall says that our requests are received as demands when others believe they will be blamed or punished if they do not comply. And when people hear requests as demands, they only see two options, to submit or to rebel. And both are not good ways for us to connect with people. So rebellious people can be hard to deal with, but agreeing to a request without willingness can also cause problems. And Marshall says that if a person gives in to a request, both sides pay for it. And nothing has been resolved. It's going to create problems. So, and he talks about a story of what it means by people will pay for it. So let's watch a video of Marshall talking about demand.
Different ways that people respond when they hear a demand. My preference is for how my youngest son once responded when he heard a demand. I said, would you please hang up your coat? He said, who was your slave before I was born? I said, I like that way because I know he hears the demand then, right? It's pretty clear. And there's other people who it's harder to guess if they're hearing it as a demand. For example, you say to them, would you please come over and just sit on the couch with me and talk with me? The person goes like this. Okay. Now, if you're smart, you'll say, oh no, stay away. They're hearing a demand, you see, but they're giving in. But the worst case scenario, this is the dangerous one, you see, is if the person hears your demand, your request is a demand, and they respond this way. Oh, sure, I'll do it. And they do it. But they did it to buy your love. They did it because they were afraid that if they didn't, you wouldn't like them. Now, how will you find out? You'll find out eventually. You might find out like this one woman did who showed up at my door in 2 in the morning. 2 in the morning, my doorbell's ringing one morning. It's pouring rain outside. And this woman, not 8 months pregnant, crying. I said, come in. I sit her down in a chair. What's going on? I didn't know how she got there, but she told me that her mother had been in a workshop with me a month before, and she had just called her mother up to tell her about what happened, and the mother said, oh, there's a man in your town that you might want to go and talk to. So that's how this woman shows up in my door at 2 in the morning. Now, what was the problem? Earlier, she said, I just made a little request to my husband, and he said, get out. We've been married 8 years. He's always been so loving, so kind. He's done everything I want, and now he says, get out. Already I knew what the problem was. He was a yes-saying jackal. He hears somebody he loves wants something, and he feels he has to do it to buy love, to prove that he's a loving person. And so how did she find this out? It took 8 years, but then she pays for it one night. And I know I was right. How do I know I was right? I got him out of bed. Why should I be up at 2 in the morning talking to his wife while he's sleeping? So I called him up and invited him over, and sure enough, you see, he was a yes-saying jackal. He just didn't know how to say no. So he had been giving in, for all these years, and then finally this night he snapped. So that's how you find out after 8 years. You found out that he was hearing demands and lovingly giving into them.
And so this shows that when people comply to our request, we need to make sure that they do so willingly. And we can do that by indicating that we will only want them to comply if they can do so willingly. We don't want them to force themselves to do something that they don't really want to do. And when we ask people to do something, we need to be aware of our objective. If our objective is to change people and their behavior or to get what we want, then MVC is not an appropriate tool. The objective of MVC is to establish a relationship based on honesty and empathy. So the process of communication in MVC is the 4 components. First, we observe what is actually happening in a situation. And what are we observing others saying or doing that is either enriching or not enriching our life. And next, we state how we feel when we observe this action. Are we hurt, scared, joyful, amused, irritated, etc.? And third, we say what needs of ours are connected to the feelings we have identified. And fourth, we address what we are wanting from the other person that will enrich our lives or make life more wonderful for us. So these 4 components basically answer 2 questions. First is what is alive in us, and how we feel and what our needs are that are behind our feelings. That answers the question of what's alive in us at a given moment. And second, what will make life more wonderful. And that's where our requests come in. Nonviolent communication involves sharing what's alive in us and what will make life more wonderful, and to receive the same information from other people to connect with what's alive in them and what will make life more wonderful for them. Then we can find ways of getting everyone's needs fulfilled compassionately. So Marshall says that if we stay with the principles of MVC, motivated solely to give and receive compassionately, and do everything we can to let others know this is our only motive, and then they will join us in the process, and eventually we'll be able to respond compassionately to one another. Now, this might not happen quickly, but compassion inevitably blossoms when we stay true to the principles and process of MVC. So now I want to talk about an application of MVC. In Tzu Chi, we make requests all the time. When we have activities, we ask our fellow volunteers to do this and do that. And if we are a team leader or we are organizing a project, communicating with people is very important to get things done. And Marshall talked about applying MVC when we are in a position of authority. So when we ask someone to do something, first, ask ourselves 2 questions. The first one is, what do I want this person to do? And the second is, what do I want this person's reason to be for doing it? There are many motives for people to do things. And most people behave because of the concept of punishment and reward. They do things to avoid punishment, or they do things to gain some kind of reward. And many organizations use reward to encourage workers to do something, or use punishment to deter certain behavior. And different motive will give us different energy in doing something. So when we submit to doing something solely for the purpose of avoiding punishment, our attention is distracted from the value of the action itself. Instead, we focus on the consequences of what might happen if we fail to make that action. For example, if a worker's performance is prompted by fear of punishment, the job gets done, but morale suffers. And sooner or later, productivity will decrease. Self-esteem is also diminished when punitive force is used. Punishment is also costly in terms of goodwill. If people perceive us as an agent of punishment, the harder it is for them to respond compassionately to our needs. Well, what about rewards? Well, rewards get people to do things out of a different energy, not out of a desire to enrich life, but out of a desire to gain something that they want to gain. And rewards don't motivate people to do things out of compassion, out of enjoyment that comes naturally from contributing to people's well-being. So in answering question 2, what do I want this person's reason to be for doing something? And we see that both reward and punishment won't give people the right motive for doing something. If there's no reward, people might not do it, even if it's something that's beneficial to themselves or to the organization. And also, using reward and punishment won't foster harmonious and loving relationship among people. So what we want to foster in people is compassionate giving. And we want people to do things because they choose to do it, because they see how it will enrich their lives and the lives of others. And we want people to give from the heart. When we give from the heart, we do so out of a joy that springs forth whenever we willingly enrich another person's life. And this kind of giving benefits both the giver and the receiver. The receiver enjoys the gift without worrying about the consequences that accompany gifts given out of fear, guilt, shame, or desire for gain. And the giver benefits from the enhanced self-esteem that results when we see our efforts contributing to someone's well-being. So how do we motivate people to give from their heart? The attitude of the leader is very important. Is the leader a fearful leader, or is the leader a respectful leader? When we are in a position of authority, or when we are dealing with people in positions of authority, Marshall says that we need to get certain things clear. So I want to play a voice clip of Marshall explaining the difference between respect for authority and fear of authority.
Nonviolent communication suggests that we get certain things clear when we're in a position of authority or when we're dealing with people in positions of authority. Some very important differentiations. One of these is the difference between respect for authority and fear of authority. Getting these mixed up creates a great deal of pain for people. As I would use these terms, respect for authority involves three ingredients. When we're in a position of authority, we get respect for our authority when, one, we know some things or can do some things that the people we're working with or living with do not have. Second, these people see these things that we know or can do. They see them as valuable. They see how these things will enrich their lives. And third, they see us as offering these things which we know that are valuable. We offer, we don't impose them. So respect for authority, as I use the term, is manifest when we know things that people don't know or can do things that they don't know how to do. And they see that these things are very valuable, and they see that these things are being offered to them and not imposed upon them. Then they would have what I call respect for our authority. Now, fear of authority is quite a different thing. That is usually built into the structure of either the family, the school, the business, the government. This structure gives us the right to impose things on people that we can reward or punish to get people to do what we want. So respect for our authority needs to be earned. We need to clearly communicate with people so they can see the value of what we're offering. Another important difference in authority is to know the difference between obedience and willing cooperation. Obedience is maintained when people submit because we have the power to either reward or punish. But willing cooperation only can be received when people feel free from this kind of coercion, and they trust that their needs as human beings are valued. When they feel that, then they are open to whatever authority we have that might be valuable.
So when we make our request and the person agrees to do something, we still need to figure out whether that person is just obeying what we ask them to do, or they do it willingly from their heart. If they're just following orders, the motivation for them to do something is external. Without that external factor, they might not do the work. If someone does something from his heart and knows the benefits of his action will bring, then he'll do the work willingly. And that's inner motivation. So when someone does something with inner motivation, his experience of doing the work and the result of his effort will be very different than someone who's doing the same work with an external motivation. So when Tzu Chi volunteers do Tzu Chi work, we give from our heart. Take our work in Nepal and India, for example. Master says she would like to repay the kindness of the Buddha by giving back to the birthplace of the Buddha and transform the life of people in Nepal and India. So volunteers from Malaysia and Singapore, they are very earnest in carrying out Tzu Chi's projects there. And we have volunteers in both countries doing charity, education, and medical work, such as providing clean drinking water to schools in India. And they do this work willingly and earnestly because they know that they're transforming the life of people there. And they're changing their future for the better. This is very meaningful and they gain Dharma joy from it. So Master is very good at motivating people to give from the heart. She taught us to serve willingly and joyfully, accept the result, and that we give without asking for anything in return. When we help people willingly, we gain Dharma joy. And because we feel Dharma joy, it motivates us to continue to give. And when we put the Dharma into action and set a great example for people to follow, this creates a cycle of compassionate giving. And the Dharma joy gives us the inner motivation to carry out acts of kindness. And our acts of kindness, in turn, give us Dharma joy. So the cycle goes on. So if you look at the spirit behind MVC, we'll see that it's very much in line with the spirit of Buddhism, which is the four immeasurables: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity or giving. So for the two questions that MVC tries to answer, what will make life more wonderful? The Buddha's answer would be harboring loving kindness and compassion. So loving kindness is to bring people happiness, and compassion is to alleviate people's suffering. If we can remove suffering in the world and give people happiness, this will make their life more wonderful. And for the question, what's alive in us? Buddha's answer will be harboring joy, especially Dharma joy, and the spirit of giving. We have Dharma in our heart, and when we practice the Dharma, we gain Dharma joy. And when we give from our heart, we make other people's life more wonderful and make our own life more wonderful. So nonviolent communication is a way of communication that helps foster compassion in people, for them to give willingly to meet others' needs while enjoying the process of helping people. And it also helps people, nurture empathy. And so the MVC has 4 components, and I've spent 4 sessions in detail on the methods and concepts of nonviolent communication, with each session focusing on one of the 4 components. And so today I finished talking about all the 4 components, and I also talked about an application of MVC in leadership. And I plan to have one more session on MVC, which I would like to share with you about 2 more applications. One is on expressing gratitude, and another one is on repentance. I find the methods extremely helpful in our spiritual cultivation of practicing gratitude and repentance. But I'm still preparing the material, so as soon as I finish preparing the material, I will share it with you. So that's my talk for today. And since my grandma just passed away this Tuesday, I would like to dedicate the merit of my talk to her, and I hope that she can rest in peace. She's actually a very, very blessed person, because at the age of 98 years old, she has no illness. She can move around freely, and she passed away in her sleep, so very, very peacefully. So I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you, and I hope my grandma will be reborn as a Bodhisattva and learn more about Tzu Chi and walk the Bodhisattva path with us. So this is my talk today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kan En Master Chu, for the wonderful sharing. Has been a great insight. Unfortunately, we don't have time to ask any question, but if I were to very summarize in one line, and I think how it's necessary for us to express our compassion rightfully, and got to be expressing our compassion very well. And it reminds me that a lot of us have to do our own self-analysis and self-reflection, the way we speak, to communicate across. So, and also to show our deep condolence again from all of us, and for the good rebirth of your grandmother. All right, so next we will now have Brother Vivek, all the way from India. He's going to share with us. And Brother Vivek, and I believe that you are based in Bodhgaya. Am I right? Brother Vivek is here. Yes, Brother Vivek, it's so nice to you know, I always wonder. I've been to twice to India on a pilgrimage trip, and I always wonder whether I could connect with Su Ching in there. And it's so great to have you on board, and it's going to share your insights with us on the things that you've been doing there. So the platform is all yours, brother. I know it's very early morning in India right now.
Yes, brother. It's too early. It's at least 7 or 5 a.m.
5 o'clock, yeah, 2.5 hours. And Brother SiYang for joining us at such an early hours. We are thinking to, if Brother SiYang is okay, we make it an interactive session. Q&A.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, sister.
Okay, Brother SiYang, because we know how busy Brother SiYang is at Bodhgaya, inspiring many people and transforming the people at Bodhgaya. Okay, maybe for people in the Tzu Chi world, those who follow the more on the Chinese side, they would have heard of Brother SiYang's affinity. But what about but maybe some they have not really heard about this. So today we would like to seize the opportunity, even those who have heard, but today is like face to face. We have this chance to hear from Brother SiYang. How it started, all this started because India, we understand that it didn't come from the many years back. It's just, I think, maybe during the pandemic. Let us seize the opportunity. Brother SiYang, maybe as the first seed we understand from India, maybe can Brother explain how Brother joined Tzu Chi and what inspired Brother to carry on until today.
Okay.
How?
Thank you so much, sister, for the joining in this session. Yeah, I'm the first seed from the Bodhgaya to start Tzu Chi in Bodhgaya, and it's actually not easy to start, but I inspired from the Master Cheng, so I carry the Tzu Chi mission in Bodhgaya to spread. And how I joined the Tzu Chi, it's actually a journey. When I went to Taiwan for my study, I went Taiwan is 2018, and I went there in Taiwan for the study of Chinese language. I have plannings to study language, and I was trying to go. Actually, I was trying to go China for the study, but somehow my plan has dropped while going to China. I don't know what happened and why. I was trying to go China for the past 2 years, but somehow I was getting some problems, or some maybe whenever I try to apply for the visa, I stuck somewhere. So one day I was thinking about why not I go Taiwan for the Chinese study. And then next month I went Taiwan without doing so many things. Like my visa process was so smooth, and all the process was so smooth. And next month I already reached in the Taiwan. So everything is so become, and thought, oh, for the China I spent roughly 2 years, but because of some personal reasons, personal issue, I didn't get any chance. But when I think about the Taiwan, within the 1 month, I got my visa, I got everything, and everything was very smoothly. So I reached in Taiwan and start learning Chinese.
And while learning the Chinese, actually I was always trying to speak more and more, so I can, like, I was trying to practice my Chinese in Taiwan, but there is very hard to find a language partner. So I joined so many activities, but yeah, it's not successful because I joined the language exchange activities, but it's not successfully because uh, when I join, there's just so many different partners who also wants to learn Chinese, English or Hindi, and I was trying to learning Chinese. So we both are pushing so hard from to each other. I was trying to speak Chinese. The person who is my language partner who is trying to speak the Hindi or English. So in this process, I lost so many times, and I was not getting how to improve my Chinese language. So one day I was trying to find more local friends, but it's very hard to find a person in Taiwan who can spend times with you without knowing each other. I try to ask someone talk to, but actually they are so busy. So somehow one day I went to the actually I was living in Taipei. In Taipei there is a one district which is a Ta'an district. So I was living there. So in Ta'an district there is a one park which is a Ta'an forest or Ta'an park. So I went there to find someone who is maybe two old lady or two old uncles who can talk to me. So I go there to find someone who can talk to me in Chinese and practice my Chinese. So when I go there now, I meet some new people over there and talking so many things. So one day I went there to but I didn't find any partner over there. And that day is weather is quite rainy, means yeah, it's rainy. So I couldn't find my any partner. So I was moving around there, and I go out of that park, moving out of over there in the roadside, and suddenly start raining. So I was looking some things to hide from the rain because I didn't bring umbrella or anything. So I look over, there is a one big building. So I went there to hiding from the raining, but it's a I didn't like the still I was getting I was still waiting. So I moved back to that building, and I saw there is a one something building which is like this one. Actually, that is a Suji, the Nagaran one, Nagaran one, the Nagaran. So I saw the Suji building over there. It's the Chingse, the Naga, this the run. So I went there like the same is as in your background. So I go there and stand up to hide myself from the running. So the one person in from the office who come out and ask me, brother, who are you? Yeah, I'm Vivek, and I come here to. He asked me, "You need any help, or what happened? Why you are standing over there?" So, I know, brother, it's fine. I'm just standing here because of it's raining outside, and I don't have umbrella. So, oh, okay, brother, welcome to our office. And he bring me inside of the city office, and he introduced me about the city, and he showed me some Master Cheng photos, and he introduced me about what is Sichi, what Sichi is doing, what is our Sichi mission. And while doing the conversation, he actually showed me so many things related to charity and education and medical. So he introduced me so many things, and he also asked me where I am from. I say I'm from the Bodhgaya, India. He said, wow, brother, you're from the Buddha places. So he actually introduced me so many things like the in 2013, there is a one earthquake in India. So that time Sichi has built roughly 300 houses for the Gujarat. So brother has who introduced me Sichi, who is that time he shared some photos and some article of that Ta'ai village. So And I, wow, it's so good. Cities are doing so big things. And I still remember the date is 6 May 2019, the day I have seen Master Cheng photo. I saw, and when I saw the Master Cheng photo, I don't know what, I don't know why, but I feel that we have some connections. I did, it's not like I'm saying someone is the first time. I see Master Cheng photo and I feel, oh, I think I know her. But when I know her, how I know, I don't know anything. But in my mind, in my heart, I feel that I know her. And it's for me so interesting. So I go on Google to study more and more, more understand what Cici is doing. And after that, when I was there, so when I was with that person who introduced me Suchi, after that I returned back to my home, where I'm staying in Tan district. So and his brother gave me some books, so I was reading. So I understand more about the Suchi and Suchi concept, and I really wanted to join Suchi as a volunteer as well. But because I was in Taiwan, don't have enough time for my doing anything extra apart from my study. So in the beginning, I joined some online training, online session to understand more and more. And after that, I come back to India in September 2019. And I come back India and I was starting doing some work, and then COVID again come in India. So when COVID come in India, actually we have one another brother who also know me, and that time he also introduced me Suchi and asked me to do some volunteer work for India. So yeah, sure, why not? So, but that time I was also working, so and I got the chance to do some volunteering for Suchi in India. So I starting doing some small helps, and because of the Master Chengyans, she love to all over the world. She wants to help all those needy people who are suffering from the any kind of the problems. So the concept I understand, I get very touched, and I also want to contribute more and more whatever I can do. So initially, few months, I was only helping Suchi to do some smaller things. But when I get more and more connected with the Suchi, so a small the helps I was doing, and I get myself connected in the city in the more details. I was feeling so proud of myself that I got some things to very meaningful for my life, to like helping someone in the city method, in the city way, is, I think it's very wonderful. Because there's so many other organization, but the how city is caring about their care recipient, and how they help CG in their own methods to by transforming their thoughts, transforming their lives, transforming their way of the thinking. So CG is not like only supporting by the giving the things. CG is also supporting the peoples by providing some wisdom, knowledge, so the people can survive in future by their own self. So this method inspired me a lot to carry this mission in India. But that time I was working with some company, full-time employee, and I don't have enough time to work for so many things. And India, in the COVID times, there are so many people who are suffering in India. Actually, the whole country is get locked down for the many months. Initially, then open, then again lockdown, again open, again lockdown. So there is a 3 times lockdown whole country, and the peoples who is like very poor, like who is like doing the selling the vegetable outside the road, or doing some rickshaw driver and the daily labor, those people are very suffering. And that time I was in Delhi, I was seeing so many news peoples who belongs to different state, like the which some is from the poor family background, and they come from the Bihar, they come from the UP, they come from the different state to Delhi to work. But in Delhi, in the whole India is completely locked down. They don't have any work, they don't have any job, they are not doing anything, and it's very hard for them to survive in this big city. So those family, thousand family has decided to go back to their own hometown. But because of the COVID, no any transport system, no any bus, no any railway, there is no any transport are available for them. So they have decided to go back their hometown by walking. So the thousand peoples are walking from the New Delhi, Mumbai to go back their own hometowns. And the people are walking 1,000 kilometers. Someone is dying on the roadside, someone is become some health problem as they die on the roadside, they become some sick, they become, I have seen this kind of the newses, and some videos are going viral on the internet. So I have seen so many things, and my heart is getting so painful. I was thinking, why so many people are suffering, why these things are happening. And me, I am in my rooms, in the air condition, I was doing everything is a very good. So I was my heart is, I'm getting very hurt. So that time I decide to help them. But so I initially, how I help them, actually me and my some three others friends, we are four friends, we want to support those family. So we contributed our 1 month salary to help how many person we can help. Yeah, we could not help so many person, but to whom I can help, I want to help. So me and my other friends, I contribute my 1 month salaries to support these peoples, and other people also do the same. So we take initiative, the four volunteer, and the same time, maybe after this cases, I know Su Ching brother who also wants to help on this kind of the people who is suffering. So the same things I propose to the Su Ching. Siji say, where we can also make some contribution to help those needy people. So that time we actually also helps those needy peoples who coming back to their hometowns from different city. So for this case, I come back from New Delhi to Bodhgaya to help those kind of the families. Yeah, I could not help all the states, the peoples, but nearby Bodhgaya, some families are over there. So that time, me and my some friends, because in the COVID time now, people don't want to come out because it's too dangerous. People don't want to come to connect anyone. And in COVID, it's really challenging for us. It's really very tough for us to go and purchase grocery and deliver to all those family, and doing the home visit and doing all the process. Because when we don't have enough volunteer, we don't have enough resources, we don't have any transport facility, we actually don't have anything on our hand, but our sincerity, our Master Cheng love, Master Cheng supports, we do our best, and all the doors are getting open for us step by step. So we invited some people, someone is coming, someone is maybe not possible, so they didn't join, but who come and join to us, and we make some small distributions to directly reach those family who is really suffering. So in this process, I feel so kind, I feel so lovely, and I feel so, because while helping those people, the peoples are blessing us, blessing Suji for this. And while receiving their blessing now, my eyes, my heart, everything is full of love. So I think this is the right way to help people. This is the right way to make something good for our society. So I decided I will not go back New Delhi to continue my work. I decided to resign my job and want to continue help those people in COVID times. But after the COVID, I joined SiYang full time. I didn't go back to my New Delhi on my work, and I stay here in Bodhgaya to continue SiYang mission in Bodhgaya. So after this in COVID, we also want to transform their people's life to, because earlier they are working in a different city. Now they come in back to their own hometown, and someone is not getting back jobs in their original places, maybe in Delhi, Mumbai, or any somewhere other factory. So they also are stuck in this area, in this Bodhgaya or nearby the Bodhgaya. So we can understand Bodhgaya is a very small city. It is a Buddha land, and here is no any corporate, here is no any industry, here is no any job opportunity. So I think why not I can stay here to think something for them, to create something for them, so they can work here and they can also make contribution to make beautiful more better, to make Bodhgaya more better. So we carry the SiYang education mission, medical mission, charity we already doing. So right now we have carry the SiYang education and medical mission to Bodhgaya, and we are trying to teach them some moral education, character education to some government school and some private schools. So we are giving more proper right education and right wisdom to those students, so that they can become a good seeds of Bodhgaya. So Master Cheng also wants to repay the Buddha lands to the, or they can also like develop more and more. So with the Master Cheng mission and the Master Cheng blessing, we also doing the same things. We are on the right path to like SiYang, in the SiYang. It's a very, the SiYang, the principle, SiYang, the rules, and SiYang, the concept is very beautiful, and it's very helpful for all those peoples who what really wants to cultivate their own selves. So these things now, the same mission I carry in those schools. Maybe we have started with the 5 school, and we enter in the more and more schools to teach all those Chingse and the character education and the moral education, which helps students to make their own like on self cultivation the process. So right now we are doing so many things in those schools, and we are also doing so many activities in that schools, so the peoples can get more. And yeah, there is also so many while doing the health screening in medicals, we have touched so many cases. Like there is one cases which is 3 years old kids in when she's like few months in the winter season, she get her face by fire, and hands and legs, everything she's get one, and she's not getting recover. So SiYang, our medical mission, medical team, they are providing medical support to that case, and we arrange them one plastic surgery operation for her to get recovery, because this mouth and eyes, because it get once of the mouth cannot close, and she cannot actually eat anything proper. So for this, SiYang has analyzed these cases to help how we can help these cases, then she can get recovery. And we have so many cases in medical as well, but some cases who really touch my heart, like these cases, the Roshni, we do the plastic surgery so that she can now eat properly, And there is one more cases when 10 years old kids who actually while playing, he get the shocks of electric wire, so his head is completely get one. So VCG also provide the medical support for these cases and get plastic surgery. So in medical mission, we also helping so many needy people who cannot afford their actually medicals, so that we are supporting this kind of cases. And we are also doing so many health screenings in the village to analyze how there is a health situation right now. If anything's not good, or we find anything problems in their health, we are also providing the medical facilities for them. So there is so many cases who is continuously inspiring me to do CG. So now from the small of the cases, like a small contribution, my small contribution in CG, how I become the 100% full-time volunteer in CG, and now I am contributing my each and every minute in CG to help more and more peoples. How many peoples I help, the myself get so happy. So this is how I joined CG and how I am getting inspired from those people to help more and more. So yeah, it's not easy, but yeah, I was so touched by all those.
Oh, Brother SiYang, or rather Vivek. Okay, Brother SiYang is the name given by Buddhist name given by Master, right?
No. Actually, when I was in studied Chinese, I have visited one Fothang.
Oh,
so
okay.
that time, Fothang, the teacher has given me this name. But in Siti, last year I went Taiwan to Kui Master Cheng. So that time I get my name, which is Ji Hong.
Oh, Ji Hong. Okay, we will
Ji
change
Hong
that.
is my
Buddhist name.
Dharma name. Sichi the Chi and Hongfa the Hong.
Wow.
The name is.
What about SiYang? How did the name SiYang came about?
Yeah.
Sorry, brother.
How did the name SiYang come
No,
about?
brother. It's a SiYang.
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 Yeah.
Oh, it's inside your profile.
Yeah, it's a SiYang, right? So actually, I have been one Fothang in Taiwan. So in the Fothang, there's one teacher who asked me, do you have any Chinese name? No, I don't have any Chinese name. So actually she helped me to find this name. And when I joined the Sichi, Master Cheng has given me the Dharma name is Ji Hong. Ji Hong's Hongfa the Hong.
Wow, fascinating.
Truly, Brother Chin. This Brother Ji Hong is truly someone we trust. Hearing the story, must have great affinity with Master, all the Kalpas. That's why is when he faced a lot of challenges going to China, actually his path is supposed to go to Taiwan. And
Yeah, actually, before going to Taiwan, I don't so believe of that Yuan Fun.
Yeah.
But literally, when I reach the Taiwan and meet Sichi and come back and again doing the Sichi, the whole process it's give me that evidence that yeah, there is a Yuan Fun. So I believe on Yuan Fun 100%. So
Wow.
I have connection with Master Cheng, and it's my Yuan Fun how my original plans to go China to study Chinese, but I go to Taiwan for the study Chinese, and I meet Master Cheng, I meet Sichi, I get opportunity to work for this organization. So it is Yuan Fun, and I really surprised, and I really appreciate it.
Where did your interest of studying Chinese come about?
Yeah, actually, in Indiana, there's just so many opportunities to work if you can understand Chinese. So because of the my work purpose, I want to study Chinese, but after the study Chinese, I use my language to communicate with Master Cheng. So maybe this is the my reason to work for the overseas company and to do some. It's my actually my work requirement, but I think after the learning, no, my right place to use my language in Su Ching, so I can communicate with Master Cheng. So if I don't know Chinese, maybe I can't directly communicate with Master Cheng. So last time when I was in Master Cheng, so that time I directly talked to the Master Cheng. So maybe this is the right purpose to use my language.
Fascinating.
Truly.
So fascinating indeed. I guess it must be really a seed that's been planted in you, and the condition for you to drive you to study Chinese, and how one condition led to another, and that's the good in fortune, I guess, of spiritual fortune for you to find the path.
Yeah, it's definitely
fascinating sharing.
Yeah, really. Actually, today is just to me, it's just a warm up for brothers because his stories is really in a great abundance, brothers. And today we can see the connection, the internet connection at his own place is pretty stable. So, Brother Hong, we hope that to hear from brother more regularly in the future. For us who have been to Bodhgaya, everyone love to be in brother Hong's team. The way he talk, even though we can't understand Hindi, but every family somehow he has this Tzu face. People look at him, they will want to adopt the bamboo coin. Sometimes when we bring, like example, 30 bamboo coins, split into 4 teams. Some of the teams couldn't distribute all. They will pass it to Brother Hong. Come, Brother Hong, help us. Then he will help to distribute this bamboo coin. I believe he must have the virtue like Sangren. When people see him, they can feel his compassionate heart and his sincerity. So truly, Brother Hong.
Bamboo Bank story is really, for me, it's very interesting. When so many volunteers went so many places to distribute the bamboo bank. But when I explained the Master Cheng story, how Master Cheng started doing this, when Master Cheng introduced this bamboo bank concept, the same things I explained to the villager with the same energy, with the same vibes. People get to love to listen, and they literally want bamboo bank. So I think we distributed roughly 900 bamboo bank over the Bodhgaya in village and some shops. So when I explain the Master Cheng story, people literally love to listen that concept, and they really want that bamboo banks to make a small contributions to help needy people. So I love to do these all things.
We have to import him to guide us on how to promote bamboo coin. Brother,
it's just all about how sincerely you introduce the concept of the bamboo bank, which is started by Master Cheng. Very easy, I'm telling you, very easy, and people will love it. I try with roughly 900 people, even more and more. So people literally love.
Well, we would love brother to come back to share us with a lot more.
True.
Very fascinating, interesting indeed. Well, Sister Su Ching, I think that's all the time we have.
Yeah, true.
I think we exceeded the time indeed, as we started very early this morning, about 5:20 this morning. So we shall close the session, if I may. Do we want to take a photo?
Maybe one more group photo.
Yeah, with the presence of Brother Vivek.
Yeah, and all the great bodhisattvas.
So if the rest can open up the videos.
Yeah, actually, we would like to hear more. I am sure Brother PS just now when he was like, I was passing through some slide, I was thinking, should give him more time. Brother PS, no worry, we will come back to you. I understand you're very humble. Definitely, you need to share more. Your session is really very insightful. Okay, Ka'an, let's take a group picture. Ka'an, to all our participants who joined since 5:20, some really beginning, very grateful. Okay, photo taken. Okay, pass back to Brother Chin for hosting.
Okay, thank Kanan so much for everybody for your attention. We started out this morning with Brother Joe, who shared with us on chapter 3 of the Lotus Sutra and how the Sutra meditation performance, sharing his wisdom on finding the way. And Brother PS next, who shared with us on the Symposium of Master's Philosophy and Leadership and what you have learned. And Master Shu, and how it's important for us to express our compassion well. And obviously, last but not least, so Brother Vivek, who shared with us your great affinity, which I find absolutely fascinating. How you all the way from India finding the Sochi path. And I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from you, and your expression, Dharma joy, is indeed inspiring. So, Kanan, so much. Thank you so much. All right, so here we are. Is Sister Lady around? Okay. All right, if not, we offer our 3 bows to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. We also offer our bow to the Abode Masters. Okay. Well, you all have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, Brother Chi, let us dedicate today's session, the merits from today's session, to Master Tesu's grandma.
Indeed, indeed. So, as you all know, that Master Tesu's grandmother just passed away on Tuesday. So we dedicate the merits of this morning's session for the good rebirth of the grandmother. And also, we also dedicate the merits for world peace, which is so badly needed at this time. Okay, all right. So we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much, Brother Chin. Great hosting.
Yeah.
We miss you, Brother Robert.
Wonderful hosting. Hi, Brother Vivek.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.
Everyone.